everyone. Welcome to another episode of Your Brain on Hops. With me always, I have Alex and Dan. Say hi, guys.
Yo.
Hey.
We also have a guest this time, Connor, who's joining us. He actually brought some Trillium beers from the great state of Massachusetts.
A great, delicious, hoppy treat.
Connor, thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely, anytime. Happy to be here. Excited.
We also have back with us Mike Kawa, who will also not be saying anything because he's just hiding in that corner again.
Say hi, Mike.
Hoi hoi.
He spoke! He spoke!
The legends are true.
I mean, some of these Trilliums do leave you a little speechless, so just leave it.
He's just feverishly masturbating.
It's
to Trillium.
Fantastic way to plug the beer. We are talking about Trillium Brewery, and it's not something that we can really get here in Western New York, which is why we're so happy when Connor was able to bring some back and join us for the episode. So, if you want to talk about like going out there and getting the beer there and a little bit about Trillium.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have buddies who live out in Boston, and like last year, my dad went out there, and I was like, Dad, you gotta go to Trillium. I heard about these guys. I heard about this brewery. You gotta go bring some back for us. And so we did, and we had them, and they were honestly like some of the best beers that we've ever had. And so now every time we go there, we make it an effort to bring back cases upon cases for everyone. So I mean, they started out in 2013 and founded by this married couple, and pretty much taking over New England beer game right now. It seems like
3 employees, 2 babies.
Yeah, the
right.
description that they have there.
There's that old Yankee work spirit. They're putting their babies to work in that brewery.
First time a baby ever did anything for me.
Good for them. It's really impressive that it's 2013, or they were founded in 2013, and they're so big now. Since New England has a good beer game to begin with, especially Vermont. So many good breweries there. And really all over Maine, even in Massachusetts, there's some really good breweries. I mean, Boston Beer Co. is founded in Massachusetts. Right. And yet Trillium, 4 years into the game, is just doing these fantastic beers. And
it doesn't get worse.
It doesn't. And
it keeps getting better, gloriously better.
The best thing about them, too, is that it's super accessible. So it's not like one of those, like when you go to Treehouse and you have to get there super early. You're standing in line only to get like a couple cans, which is worth it, but I mean, there you can just go show up, whatever they have there, get cases of it.
Do you think it will ever stop being worth it? Because I've seen the photos of some of those lines for like Treehouse, and it's like, man. And I had a discussion with someone the other day. You have all these phenomenal beers that are coming out from brewers, and someone had mentioned, are we though forgetting there are also predecessors that have had fantastic beers before this? And I kind of, actually recently, last day at ABW, but I see it a lot. There's so many great beers still on those shelves, but people go for it's like, this is the best. And it's like, well, those are some damn good beers right there. I'm like, let's not forget these.
Right.
So, at what point does it become, I'm like, why am I also bothering so much for this one can when I'm like, hey, there's a brewer next door who's also doing some pretty damn good work.
I think people are always looking for the new thing, and once Trillium gets out there around a lot more, then I think the hype will die down. Kind of like KBS. I feel like the
KBS,
it's gone downhill. The hype around it,
especially when you find it on shelves at Rite Aid.
Yes, you mentioned the Rite Aid. Thank you for bringing that up. So disappointing. It just when I got a text message about that, and I'm like, wait, you're not serious right now? He's like right in front, dead center of the counter, just 20 cases KBS, and so walked in, and I'm like, it's right there. I bought it. I was like, okay,
it's great, but I mean.
I heard the price was cheaper too.
Yeah, that's true.
Consumers, they charge $30 for it.
Whoa!
And everyone's like, well,
we didn't even charge that at the time.
At Wegmans, anywhere else.
But I asked the girls, like, is there a limit? She's like, no limit. And I was like, and she's like, why? Or I told her specifically why. I'm like, I work across the street at the time, and I'm like, we sell tickets, and we had a line, and people go crazy for this. And it's like, it's crazy to do something like that. She's like, we just got it in. We have no idea what it is. And I'm like, clearly. And I remember being at the bar, and I told my friend there, and she's like, no. And she ran across the street. She's like, it's true. And I'm like, I told you it was true. And I remember sitting there for a little bit, and I would just watch. And I just slowly started seeing more and more guys going in, and then 2 4-packs. And one of the other bartenders went over there, bought 2. And I yelled out to the street, and he's like, "I'm so happy!"
I haven't had it this year yet, though.
Did you guys sell out at ABW?
We sold out. We sold out. Yeah, there was a big long line. People like when that release happens, it goes fast. It's first come first serve.
And I think that'll always happen too.
Yeah, and that's one of those beers that has a huge hype around it, and not unjustly. It is a very good beer, and I mean, if stuff like that happens where you can get it, cool. But even with it being a very good beer, I don't know if I'm gonna wait. Like, if I didn't know of some other option to, like, if I didn't know if it was at some random drugstore,
Right.
I don't know if I'd go wait a couple hours to get a ticket to buy that.
At what
beer.
point do you just say, "Okay, I'll try again another day"? Like the hunt for different beers has definitely changed. Like since I got into craft beer, like it wasn't when I got into it. It was just, this is something different. This is something different. I'm like, I'll give it a shot. And it's like, I may like it, I may not. Now it's like someone comes out with a style of beer, and I'm just like, oh, okay, well, I gotta try it. And then I'm bummed if I don't have this, and people are waiting in vast lines for something and traveling across state lines with trunkfuls of beer like moonshiners.
Like I do with the Trillium.
So wrapping them in suitcases. I'm like, no, and I'm like, is this a drug? Like, what? We're smuggling beer now.
Yeah, some of it kind of reminds me of the Hollywood obsession with remakes, where they're like, okay, so we know this worked in the 80s, let's remake something for 2017 and see, and because it should work, instead of coming up with something new. So like KBS, people know it's good, and Founder's going to keep putting out good beer, so they're going to go back for it. And new breweries are almost like kind of ignored until they earn their stripes. Which is why something like Trillium is kind of impressive, because they got that reputation really early on. I mean, I don't think I heard about it till probably 2015 or so maybe a couple years after they opened, but even that, like 2 years after they open, I hear about it, people are bragging about how good it is.
Right.
I mean, good for them. They
Right,
kind of bucked that trend of needing to establish a presence as a brewery before they...
Exactly.
I mean, the big name that I always heard of prior to was, the Alchemist Heady Topper, the infamous can, and then, I had, the next style of, but it wasn't considered not a West Coast, New England style at the time. It was just aggressive. You didn't have a terminology for it yet, and then I had Surly out of Minnesota, and I was like, okay, this is the abrasive, and I was like, this is also awesome. And then I got Lawson's, and then you heard of Pliny the Elder, and it's like, these are all different states. And then it kind of started coming into this one category of these deeply juicy, hazy, aggressively hopped IPAs with lots of citrus and different things that, until finally someone said, yeah, this is coming out of this area.
Yeah, and that's just, I mean, us being in Buffalo, the stuff you described, that's northern United States and East Coast, New England. We're not even talking about like these random small breweries that might be popping up in southwestern California that we just don't have access to.
Right, and that we don't even hear about.
Yeah. We might visit a local craft beer podcast out of Phoenix, Arizona, and I'll be like, hey, you guys tried this yet? I'm like, no, you tried Trillium? They're like, no, what's that? What's that?
This thing, when I hear someone say, like, the trades I hear in, like, Aurora Brewers, like, oh, no, I have this buddy of mine, he can't get hold of Yunling. And I'm like, really? He goes, oh, he loves it. He just always wants it. And he's just willing to give me this. And I'm like, and it's like a rare beer that you can't get hold of. I'm like, this is your trade-off? I'm like, why don't I have friends like this?
That's called taking advantage of so
Seriously.
Oh, wow. All right, well, so we talked about Trillium the Brewery a little bit. Let's talk about the beers we have here. The first one we have is Stillings Street, and this is a variation of Stillings Street. It's a double dry hopped Stillings Street, which is IPA from Trillium. And, oh my god, this is so hazy.
I'm drinking it
so
too
hazy.
I'm
And
drinking it too
it,
fast.
it tastes hazy as well.
Yeah. It's pretty, it's got a nice bitter bite to it.
Yeah, which I didn't expect. With this kind of tropical hazy IPA, I didn't expect the bitterness to it. But you're right, it does have that.
Yeah.
But the best thing too about these, a lot of them, is just like how that flavor like really like lingers on, like the citrus zest, like at the end of it, like lingers for a while. Like you have that flavor in your mouth for a bit afterwards, and like that's something I like really enjoy about that beer, because there's some of these like people who are trying to do these New England IPAs, and like it'll be really juicy up front, and it'll just like drop off at the end of it, and it's like kind of like it was good up front, but all these Trillium beers that I've had have the best finishes as well.
That's a really good point. It's not difficult to give a beer a citrus taste because I mean, citrus. It's just a sweet flavor to it. So you throw in something citrus and bam, you're there. It doesn't mean it's going to work out well with the rest of the beer. It doesn't mean it's going to linger around afterwards. But like you were saying, it does linger afterwards. I get that tropical note up front, and then the zest is on the back of my mouth as I swallow it, and it's just fantastic. It's really impressive.
I could totally drink this in the morning with a Belgian waffle.
Right. This is the joke of why I'm saying, is that beer or is it orange juice?
Yeah. I didn't even think of using it for
why
breakfast.
not add some orange juice and make it into
Shut your
mimosa?
mouth. That's not worth it. I'd just rather have just the beer.
Not one of your
I
finest
mustn't
ideas,
dilute it.
Alex.
I'm with Mike on this one. This
is
it
my
already
OJ.
tastes like a
Yeah.
mimosa to me.
I kind of agree with Chris on that one. It does have a very mimosa kind of vibe to it. Just, yeah, this would be my... I could drink this for breakfast. With a Bloody Mary.
All right, your brain on hops bucket list. Drink this with waffle in the morning. See if it works for science.
For science.
For
yeah.
science.
Tomorrow morning before work.
Tomorrow.
Maybe a trip to Boston.
Yeah.
I got more.
To try it properly, we'd have to go to
that's
Boston and try it.
I
Yeah,
said
I'll
we
be
go
honest,
to
I got
Boston.
like 16
Chris, you and I...
cans
Chris, you and I, we go to Boston. We leave Alex behind. And we just take multiple selfies of this at the brewery, just going, yeah, you have some now, but we're here.
All right, that's fair. Connor gets some now.
Yes.
That's it. Yeah.
I'll bring him some back. Yeah.
Thank you. Return
We
the
bring
favor.
none back
Yeah.
for Alex.
The beer community is a very generous community.
Troy
Except
and
for,
Abed
you
in the
know,
morning.
your friends that you leave behind.
We have new friends.
Except for your close friends in the beer community.
I have no friends. I drink alone.
Well, we just kind of went full circle there in the beer community. Friends, close friends, no, and then just being alone. All right, well, yeah, let's go ahead and move on to the next Trillium beer now.
So what do you guys think of the last beer that we just had, the Stillings Street?
I stick with Sploosh.
I second the sploosh. We had to take a quick pause here at the studio.
Change our
to-
shorts.
I was going to say something a bit more PC, but I appreciate your candor.
We have to change our shorts every time. we
Our
switch?
jimmies are a little rusted.
We had to clean the keyboards. Keys were sticky.
Wait, you guys didn't bring 4 pairs of shorts to this recording?
I get prepared.
Yep.
Yeah.
I
I layered them. I had 4 pairs of shorts on.
You didn't even change. You just take off the last layer.
Yeah, I've had
What you
these
don't
beers a
realize
handful of
is
times
Connor
to
is
know that I
actually
need a
naked
couple
in
pairs.
studio. He joined Mike in the corner.
First time here, naked in the studio.
Oh, yeah. Great studio atmosphere we have going on here.
Like as I looked
So,
at Mike, I just
explain
see
some
him
of
eating
the-
Mike's cheese.
Oh, yeah, we're just chowing down on cheese here also. by
But
the
I
way.
like it when I looked over at Mike, he's gloriously eating Alex's cheese.
That sounds bad.
That was the point and why I find it funny.
And he's not speaking
And
It is
for-
getting weird.
If you're wondering if cheese is used metaphorically, I'll let you keep wondering. So, the first beer, I think we all agreed, sploosh level, so good for that beer. The second beer we're going with now is called...
It's a new term for beer. Forget crushable.
That's
Splooshable.
right.
Splooshable.
You heard it first here on Your Brain on Hops. Sploosh, top level beer. So the next beer we have is called Scaled Up. We'll see if this also ranks sploosh level with the first beer. This one's a double IPA, 8%, so a little bit strong, not too much stronger, but a little bit stronger. Same kind of, so after I poured, I thought it looked pretty similar to the first one. Hazy color, bright golden, or bright yellow, I guess.
So yeah, with this one we got Galaxy, Mosaic, Nelson, and Columbus
And
hops.
Columbus. I like this one better.
Me too.
I think the bitterness is a little more balanced to the beer.
That's fair. I also think this one's a bit more carbonated. I don't know,
It's
Yeah,
a
crisp.
little bit, yeah, a little bit
Crisp
crisper.
finish.
Yeah. Which, yeah, I'm saying a good way too, because that's, I really like that in a respectable IPA that has a good balance. That crispness can be pretty good.
I think the juicy character of this beer is a lot more amplified than Stillings Street's. Yeah, finish it off.
That's fair. They
A little bit in there.
they seem pretty similar as far as the citrus character. Do you think the citrus character is the same, just stronger in this one, or do you think it's actually a little bit different?
I think it's different. Just going from the ingredients alone, the first one was Nelson and Columbus. This one's Nelson, Columbus, Galaxy, and Mosaic. And Galaxy is a juicy hop.
Yeah, that's true.
Mosaic can be too, but I think that's where you're getting some of that pine also. But that pininess, that bitterness, that's definitely coming from the Columbus.
It smells dank and spicy.
Yeah.
It's got a bite to it at the end.
Yeah, it almost reminds me of a spicy style saison at the end.
I do get that now that you say that. Interesting.
It's delicious.
Sploogeable. Another
Yes.
sploogeable beer from Trillium.
Can I
Let's see
make
if the next one's sploogeable too.
Can I just put Trillium on a shirt, just on the back, just splooshable?
You could probably buy one of theirs and do it on that.
Just a different font type, everything, just Trillium, splooshable.
I don't see why not.
Comic Sans font, like the most generic possible font ever.
I think we have the name for the episode.
Splooshable.
Splooge Fest.
Trillium Splooge Fest.
Thing is,
We
somebody
just-
who
With a
doesn't,
side of mozzarella cheese.
somebody who doesn't know Trillium would see that and be like, "What the hell?" Somebody who does know Trillium would see it and be like, "Yeah, I get that."
We just tag Trillium and everything with just splooshable. Why are we trending with this?
They deserve it though. And honestly, I'm kind of worried about our rating system because so far we have one rating, splooshable. We haven't really tasted anything below that yet. So it's like on a scale of 10 to 10, how does this rank?
I don't think splooshable is beyond a 10.
It's turning it up to 11.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair.
That's a euphoric state almost.
I bet most people who listen to a beer podcast are like, I bet sploosh won't be used that much in this episode.
This isn't a Bud Light at a truck stop.
They would be wrong.
Pass the cheese.
Yeah, but how many times in a beer podcast do you think you're going to hear the word moist?
And that went over so well.
We've said it how many times?
Yes.
Do you say it a lot?
We have said it quite a
It comes up a good
It's
amount of
some moist
time.
cheese that you have.
We have an episode.
Cheese is quite moist,
It's
isn't
quite
it?
moist.
Oh,
also very
so
sticky.
moist. One were to say
And creamy.
moist cheese.
Now all these words are making me not want to eat this cheese, but I can't stop.
Is the cheese splooshable?
Let's not get that carried away.
How do you think it was made?
I want to describe for our audience the way Mike is dangling the cheese over his mouth. Much the way the penguin would dangle a fish over his mouth in a Batman comic.
I'm gonna let it warm up.
I'm really sad that I don't have any more of this beer. One can is not enough.
I know, that's why when I go there, I buy a couple cases worth. That's why there's 16 cans in my fridge still.
And you brought us one.
That's
Two.
Two. I brought two.
Oh, so where's the other one, Alex?
I got mouths to feed beer at home. There's other people who need Trillium too.
It's a lie.
Yeah,
I would imagine doing that. If you ever have children, just do like the whole European thing. It's like, all right, you guys can drink when you're younger. It's like, I'm just going to force feed you good beer so you have good taste in life.
You want some cheese, Ron Weasley?
Let's.
Thank you, Mike.
Besides getting infants just drunk on beer, Mike's just force feeding Lego people cheese.
See, that's the thing. Like, do you spend money on a good vacation if you have really little kids because they're not going to remember it?
No, just
I
give
would
them good
say,
beer.
I would say, give the kids average beer until they're old enough to really know what good beer is. Maybe like 10 or 11.
Are you saying instead of taking them to Disney World,
Just get them drunk.
get them drunk?
Before that, just give them the average stuff.
Get them
I'm gonna
drunk
save
at
the
Disney
Trillium
World.
for me.
Because I know to survive that trip, I'm gonna need to be pretty lit
Wait, as the adult or the child?
as the adult.
Oh, okay. They do serve alcohol there.
Yes, they do. I had many a beer in Germany.
I've got Germany, yeah.
And those pretzels are so good. Pretzel and beer in Germany.
They
Why
do
not?
their work well in Epcot.
Yeah. Yes, they do.
Isn't there? There's like some challenge or some drinking challenge that you can do at Epcot. Like you're supposed to have a drink at every country. It's like some sort of challenge that you do there, and
You unlock a new character if you do it.
yeah. You can go
Mom, why
behind
is
the
Dad
scenes.
beating Mickey Mouse?
You go
Lot
behind
of
the scenes and it's a
issues.
small world ride if you win.
You were in Germany again, weren't you?
You get to see the next Disney film if you get finished.
Yeah.
That could be
Which
awesome
would
now if
be,
the Disney film is Star Wars and Marvel.
Yeah. I guess the new park is opening up in, I think,
2018.
18?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Nice.
18 or 19. I didn't
One of
remember which one,
those.
but yeah, the whole Star Wars theme park.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Ooh, that
Yeah, it's
ass.
gonna be incredible.
Disney's going sci-fi. Didn't they just finish the Tron coaster?
Did they really?
Did they?
I think they just finished the Tron coaster.
And they are renovating Tower of Terror to be a Guardians of the Galaxy
Yep.
ride, which it sounds cool, but Tower of
It's
Terror
just
is
Rocket
Yeah.
going around murdering people.
I'm a huge.
It's the same, except when you get to the top, he says, "I am Groot." And you plummet.
All right, so 2018, you're Brandon Hops live from Disney World.
awesome. Disney World.
I'll be in
Inside the
Germany.
Millennium- Drinking inside the Millennium
The real
Falcon.
Germany.
Oh,
Yes, drinking in the Millennium Falcon. I like this.
that's a dream
Splooging
come
over
true.
Trillium in the Millennium Falcon.
You guys go to the
Or
Millennium
just
Falcon.
splooging
I'll sit in
over
the
Millennium
teacups.
Falcon.
They had those smuggling compartments. What do you think's in there? Trillium beers.
Dead Wookiees.
No dead Wookiees.
Oh.
This got dark.
It struck a chord.
Mike's drunk.
This is why we don't let him talk.
This is why we don't talk
Just
about
feed Ron Weasley more cheese.
It ends in dead Wookiees.
No, he's decapitating him.
Now he's surprised that he should decapitate it. So I'm kind of curious. Trillium, do they do darker beers? Any stouts or porters?
Wild, yeah, stouts, porters, wild ales, saisons too.
You do quite a bit of
Yeah.
saisons.
Oh, so-
New
so the
England
whole gamut
Wild
there.
Saison and Oak Barrels I've got on here from one of them. Yeah, a lot of wild ales actually.
The one that sounds
Saison.
really good to me is Eldorado Dry Hopped Sun Shower. It's a super saison, they call it. So Imperial saison.
Nice.
Interesting.
But that sounds
Imperial Red Ale.
It's actually.
Ooh.
I wanted to go through a lot of that archive page to see what else is out
Yeah.
there that I.
Sinister Kid
they're,
Belgian Strong Dark Ale, which has a really creepy picture of a doll on it.
Yeah, I saw that one too. If
Reminds me of-
if you guys go to the website though, check out the website. It's really nicely done. If you click on any of the beers, you can go to the archive on their website and you can see all of the beers that they've done. So you can actually see quite a lineup of things that they've done and some really really interesting things.
Secret Stairs Boston Stout.
Is one that they just did was they did a streets. It's called the Streets, and it's to commemorate like the anniversary. I want to say the 5th. I could be wrong though. The 5th anniversary of their Street series. It was a triple IPA, and it was supposed to be phenomenal. And I'm bummed I didn't get to drink that.
I'm actually curious on why they have, like, I'm looking at their names and, you know, they have plays on different names, but I'm noticing they have different versions of a beer called Free Rise. Free Rise Citra Dry Hop Saison, Free Rise Saison, what was the other one that I just saw? Free Rise Nelson Dry Hop Saison. It sounds like it's just a variation of a Saison right now.
Yeah, they do a lot of
So-
variations.
Yeah, like the
4
Street series.
Street series,
is
which is
that, exactly that. The one beer that Connor and I had was it's called PM Dawn. It's an American stout with cold brewed coffee.
I'm looking at that right now.
Yeah, it was phenomenal.
fantastic.
One of the best
Cold brew
coffee beers I
series.
think I've ever had.
Night and day, day and night.
Yeah.
Ooh, that looks good. Blonde barley wine style.
One of the only coffee
With cold brewed coffee.
Mm-hmm.
coffee styles I had where I noticed the coffee in it.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sensitive to caffeine, and that was one where I'm getting the caffeine on this one. Some stouts there's it's brewed with coffee, but you don't really get that. You don't feel it, and that was one I was like, I'm feeling the caffeine in this one. It's delicious. It was worth it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's impressive.
Yeah, they've got 5 beers on here just under the name Fort Point, and this is
The best.
Yes.
just
Fort Point is out of this world.
double dry hop.
Is that
Mosaic dry hop.
IPA
Pale
style? Oh,
Yeah,
pale ale?
but it honestly drinks like an IPA.
Yeah. The
Galaxy,
aroma on it
Enigma.
is just, it's just beautiful.
Like when you guys were talking about your desert island beers, like the Galaxy Dry Hop 4 Point would be my desert island beer.
Ooh,
Oh, wow.
Did we change?
Just to remind listeners, it was a few episodes back, and we were talking about a beer to have on a desert island if you could only have one beer. That led to discussions about what do you want a beer suited to the desert island climate, or just a beer that's the only beer you get. Basically, you just a beer washes up on shore with a shit ton of it in a cooler, and what beer would that be if you could only have one? So it has to be a really good beer if that's the one you're going to be living with.
I proposed that question, and then I also proposed the second one was, what is your death row beer? You get your last beer.
That's
right. That can be a difference too, because one beer you have to live with, the other beer you can get
go
once.
out on. Would your answer have changed though for that? Now having this something splooshable?
Thinking about it now, I could definitely do 4 Point.
I would probably do Julius from Treehouse.
I've had the Julius before. That is actually really good.
I've not had that one.
Wait, the Julius as your death row beer?
Death row beer, yeah.
Oh,
well, I'm trying to think of beers that I have had, not beers that I wish I could have. I mean, maybe that's another thing too, because they have King Julius, which is supposed to be insane, and they have another one called Juice Machine. That's also supposed to be phenomenal as well. And those are beers I probably like a bucket list beer, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Right before you bit the dust.
We
Some beer you go out
we got
on.
a bit. We got a bit wise ass with it too. We're like, well, I'm gonna say Utopias 2010.
Right.
That way they can't find it. You're not gonna die. Can't give you your last meal.
You can't do anything.
Was it you that said that you wanted to have one of those massive bottles of something and they couldn't take you out?
It's like, until I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm going to be... if I'm going out, I'm going out drunk. Yeah, I don't know what I would go... I don't know...
Just kidding.
And you're off the show.
See you never. You won't hear this sweet voice ever again on here.
Speaking of good beers in large amounts, is there any place you know of that does tubes of craft beer? Because we've talked about Griffin's Pub.
Do they do tubes there?
No.
They don't do tubes, but you can get craft beer in larger amounts than you should be able to. Like you can do Worldwide Stout in a 22-ounce glass if you want to. Which no one should.
Pearl Street has the tubes.
Okay.
Okay, so you can get their beer.
I'm pretty sure you can get all of their beers in the tube.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Which might be that might be a little easier to do if the brewery's on site.
Yeah.
But if you're talking just going to the sports bar and we've got a decent tap menu, are you going to start throwing craft beer into the tube? And
Still though, I mean, you do it too. If they do tubes of any of their beers, like you choose what's their double IPA? Saber's Edge.
Saber's Edge.
You do that. That's like 9
bad.
point something. You do a tube of that. Woo! That'll get you right to the
See ya.
yeah, but didn't we were at a local establishment out here, and we discovered that sometimes the tube is not always the best thing to go for. It seems great because you think you're getting a lot of beer for a special deal, but then if you actually break down the math, we figured out if you just stick with the pint glass, you get more for yourself and more bang for your buck, essentially.
Yeah, it's probably like the novelty of sharing a tube of beer with your friends.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
that's kind of fun. Speaking of Griffin Pub, how they put a lot more beer, they give you bigger sizes than they're used to. They had Sip of Sunshine, like summer of 2015. They had it there.
Holy
They
shit!
got a keg of it, and I was at a music festival, and that beer was on tap for the whole music festival. That and some Hills Farmstead because it was.
Where were you? Wait, when and how and who's a what's it?
So it was a fish music festival, and obviously Fish is from Vermont. This is a jam band.
I want to go back to the Griffin Pub. Okay,
Oh, I thought you were talking about that.
No. They had what now?
They had Sip of Sunshine. They had a keg of it, and I think the reason why is because there was a lot of kegs for that music festival, and I think that they started just distributing it around in the Northeast because we were all shocked to learn that. And they gave us a pretty nice sized glass of it too, and I was like, oh wow, I don't think they know what they have here because this is pretty rare, and it hasn't happened since.
Yeah, that's one of those golden situations where you just keep going with it.
Yeah.
That was Dan and I were at I think it was a pizza plant a few years ago, and they had a 120-minute IPA on tap, which they just put it on tap, and we weren't at the bar, we were at a table, and we were looking at the beer list and saw 120, and they didn't have a price. We asked what it was, and she was like, "Oh, I think it's like $8." We're like, well, $8. That probably gets you what, like 4 ounces or something, because it's 120. Mm-hmm. She goes, it's like a 16, just a pint glass.
Just a pint.
Basically, somebody fucked up along the way. Yeah. and we're both like, I'll have that, please.
Yeah.
So now the thing is with the 120, like you can't really take advantage of it unless you have, a chauffeur or a taxi to take you home. So we had to limit ourselves. We couldn't just drink it all night. But still, it was amazing.
I think she did come back. She goes, yeah, you guys, I'm not going to charge you more. She's like, but we did change the price a little bit. Or the sizing amount. It's like, too late. Go away, please.
But it was 120 in a pint glass?
Pint glass.
Yeah, they were serving it like an average beer.
$8 pint glass.
Holy hell.
Yeah, that was pretty special.
I mean, 3 years ago, that was the 21%er.
Yeah. Does it still hold the record as being the beer with the highest alcohol percentage?
No, there's novelty beers out there that...
IPA might be one of the highest.
IPA was,
yeah.
Brewdogs did one, but some of them are stouts.
Sam Adams Utopias, I think, is 28. Somewhere in that
28
range.
to 30, depending on the year, I think.
What is it? Sink the Bismarck, I think it's
called?
called?
Yeah,
that's Brewdogs.
Yeah. That one's like, I think it's 30-something. Maybe more
and
towards 40.
They were aiming to get a super high ABV on it.
Right.
Like
their goal was to actually have the highest alcohol content.
Yeah.
According to, I'm just looking at strongest spirits in the world, but they're saying like Dogfish. This is just Google. Dogfish 120. They have sitting at 18 because I put an IPA, and they have one I don't even know who this is and how to pronounce it, and they hit 70%. I don't think that's a beer anymore.
Yeah, that's not a beer.
Yeah.
Coleship Mystery of Beer. It's definitely European, and that's a 70, and it's no longer produced.
Probably because it tasted like shit.
Yeah, that's gonna take more like rubbing alcohol than beer at that point.
What's the one that Brewdog does that is in the taxidermy squirrel?
End of the world.
End of the world. Yeah.
Wow.
I think that one's higher than Sink the Bismarck.
Yeah.
And that you can't get anymore either.
Have you guys had some of these?
No, I haven't.
I mean,
I've had Brewdog's beers, but not Sink the
I think
Bismarck
they
or
produce it every now and then.
Okay.
They haven't produced it in a very long time. And when it goes, they're talking thousands of dollars.
They were. Yeah. I know they've done Sink the Bismarck again.
So that they have done.
Yeah, that you can get for a reasonable price. I mean, as much as a high-end beer would go for. Yeah. Whereas End of the World, that's hundreds, if not thousands of dollars, depending on when it goes out. Yeah. All right, but great beer's closer to home. Let's
the ones that you're kind of leaning up against.
The ones I'm leaning on. It's an itch right now that only Trillium can scratch. So let's move on to our next beer.
All right, so we're back and we are drinking another double IPA from Trillium called Mettle. And it's pretty much just as juicy as the last one and just as sploshable.
Yep.
And it's delicious with pizza.
Mm-hmm. Most beers are delicious with pizza.
Mm.
Pizza and beer, one of the greatest combinations.
Mm-hmm.
Has there ever been a beer that's actually ruined pizza?
No.
Or is it you're just eating really shitty pizza?
Then it's pizza ruining beer.
I'm not super sure I'd want to drink some sours with pizza.
That I can agree.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see that.
How about a nice steel
The,
reserve? Or is that just not beer?
The tomato sauce, I think the acidity of
the tomato sauce would just compound.
Clash.
Yeah.
I
But-
mean, I don't drink sours a lot in general.
no.
Therefore, probably not going to drink it with my pizza.
I either don't eat while I'm drinking sours, or it's a very deliberate food match
Yeah.
when I'm drinking a sour. So it's not that big of a deal. It's not like I'm just gonna be like, oh hey, I'll bust open a sour while I'm eating miscellaneous meal.
What about a white pizza?
That
Okay.
could bode well.
So you don't have the tomato sauce there. You some olive oil.
Garlic.
Usually a bit more vegetables on top of a white pizza.
And you have the
Tomatoes,
acidity and
onions.
the higher carbonation of sours could actually cut through that olive oil and the cheese, the richness of a
Yeah.
white pizza.
Wow,
That could work.
science.
So pizza is the ultimate food.
Yes.
That's right. Yeah.
Pizza
Big
is my
pizza.
favorite food.
My favorite meal ever is pizza and wings.
Probably because we're off in Buffalo.
Right.
It's
Because we have a lot of good pizza here, and we also
lot
have
of
a
good
lot of good wings.
Yeah.
it's either causality, growing up in Buffalo makes us like that,
Mm-hmm.
or it just works out really fucking awesome that we happen to like that and live in Buffalo.
I think it makes us like pizza a whole lot more.
Oh, yeah.
I agree. I met some people from North Dakota, Fargo, North Dakota, and the one we were talking about different places, and she was like the places in Fargo, and then they could also go to like Minnesota and travel to some other states, and she goes, oh, but in Fargo we do have a Buffalo Wild Wings. Do you have that here? And I kind of looked at her and I'm like, yeah, but I wouldn't bring that up with other people you meet from Buffalo.
They will laugh in your face
That's
and
the,
tell you
uh,
that you're a loser.
Yeah. You will not be treated kindly if you brag about Buffalo Wild Wings as
Yeah.
somebody from Buffalo.
A Buffalo good neighbor will turn into a bad neighbor when they find out that you like Buffalo Wild Wings.
Yeah. Not to disparage Buffalo Wild Wings, but it's
No,
basically just a chain pour imitation of what's naturally available in Buffalo.
Yeah.
I mean, back in high school, I went to Buffalo Wild Wings, but it was more for Sabres games.
It's
There
more
you
for,
go.
it's more
Yeah.
for the atmosphere, and like I think the flavors of their sauces are pretty decent, but the wings themselves, not so much.
No thanks. Gabriel's game.
In my travels, though, people always say the same thing. Like you bring up that you're from Buffalo, and they immediately are like, "Oh yeah, I've been to a Buffalo Wild Wings. Those are good." And it's like, "Oh, they're not. Not really."
Let me give you real food and flavor.
Although Buffalo Wild Wings is a publicly traded company, they're not doing too bad. So good for them, I guess.
People like sports bars.
Yeah.
People like sports bars
People like
and
sports.
that kind of Buffalo atmosphere of
Yeah.
the wings, the beer, the
Right.
sports bar. That they've exported that really well and managed to replicate it in other areas.
Even I used to go there for like wrestling matches and WrestleMania and stuff like that. I mean,
Yeah, there you go.
They serve the Yingling of chicken
My
wings.
one of my managers was at WrestleMania. Did you watch WrestleMania?
I didn't.
My manager was there. He went to it. It was like an all-day event thing.
That's a bucket list, but that's another time.
Yeah. I would probably rather drink a bucket of the finest beer than go to WrestleMania. I'm sorry, man.
I don't know.
What would you do? WrestleMania or a bucket of the best beer?
Why a bucket?
I don't know, because it's a bucket list.
Okay.
I would take a bucket of the best beer.
Your bucket list beer out of a bucket.
Yes.
Where am I?
watching,
that's
or watching
fun.
John Cena propose to his
Where are
longtime
my
girlfriend
seats at
WrestleMania.
Where are my seats at WrestleMania? Am I like
You're
right
in the
against the
pit.
ring, or am I like?
You're in the pit.
I'm in the pit.
It's pretty much asking, do you like wrestling a lot? Or
I
you
do.
like beer more?
But the thing is, if you're watching wrestling, you're usually drunk because it's funny as hell to do so. So I'm not alone with no beer,
Right.
but a bucket of the best beer in the world.
I'll take the bucket.
Where am I when I drink this bucket?
Where would you drink this bucket?
Yeah, where am I? Is it just...
Bathtub.
You would be.
Am I going out with the bucket? Because what I'm assuming is the best beer in the world,
It's your
I'm
death
not
row
waking
bucket.
up.
It's your death row bucket beer.
Or is this just after I'm done drinking it, I'm going to need a bucket because I'm going to be hurling a lot?
That's what the bathtub is for.
Depends on what beer you choose.
Oh, no. This isn't I get to choose the beer. It's just the best beer in the world.
Also, you're naked.
No, you can choose it.
The best beer in the world. What is the what do I find to be
you.
the...
I'll take a bucket of Utopias.
When's the last time you had Utopias?
I don't know. When was that event, the Brewworks?
Yeah, there
That was
was.
the last time I had it. But they had what, the 2014, 15, 16?
Yep.
Or 13, 14,
No.
15?
I'm all mixed up now.
And technically they're saying...
I want to say it was a year ago, but
It was like a year ago.
I also I'm leaning towards 14, 15, 16 because I'm pretty sure
Okay.
one of them was newer. It wasn't. It
Yeah,
wasn't
I
more
knew
than a
one
year
of
old.
them was a newer one.
Yeah.
Like,
This
I'm
is
looking
the
at
Sam
a list
Adams
of
thing, right?
best beers in the world, and, like,
Yeah.
they're going Song of Joy, Hill Farmstead, Cantillon, Russian River, Three Floyds,
Right.
you know...
King
I can
Julius.
see Canton being up there. I mean, they
I don't think I
dynamics
could
are
drink
out
a
of this
bucket
world.
of Cantillon.
No.
This is just hurting my throat now.
Bucket of nitro.
My throat
Nitro
is
stuff.
burning.
Why would you give me a bucket?
Actually,
No, when you say bucket,
throw
I
it
am
in a
picturing a
giant-
5-gallon bucket of the world's best beer.
Yeah.
5-gallon bucket.
5-gallon bucket? Really?
A 5-gallon bucket. That's, I mean, if I'm getting...
That's a
I
a
thought-
corny keg.
So,
That's
yeah.
a corny keg worth of.
Corny keg worth, that's what I'm expecting.
Yeah, I could do that.
Oh, you thought this was
Not
going to be some
sour.
little pail or something?
At first.
I think
But then
you're thinking more like when you go to a bar and get a bucket of beer, right?
No,
and it's got
a
like
little bit
ice
bigger
and,
than that.
and 5 beers stuck in it.
WrestleMania tickets or like a puny bucket? I'll go WrestleMania tickets. If I'm getting a 5-gallon bucket of
That,
beer,
alright, we'll go with that then. And you get to share it with someone who you all
fuck
want
that,
to
I'm not
cross
sharing.
off your bucket. You can share it with the person you want to cross off your bucket list, someone you've always wanted to meet and hang out with.
Oh, see, when you said cross off, I think it meant kill.
No.
All right. To bring it back from the dark area there. For the listeners at home keeping score, it was May 26, 2016 that we had the Utopias tasting at Aurora Brew Works, and it was 2012, 2013, and 2015.
Oh, okay.
Which I do remember the year skipped there.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a bit old for the 2012. In 2013, 2015.
They were all really good though.
They were all fantastic. I think I remember the 2013 being the best at that point.
Yeah, the 13 was the best.
I've
We
never
need to
had
get some
any.
more of that.
I've never had any Utopia.
I think there's still some left at Brewworks. All you have to do is ask for it.
Really?
Yep.
But they keep
Or
it like
keep it downstairs, I think.
for people who know.
Yeah.
How is it?
It drinks more like you would get a
Like a
glass
scotch?
like this,
Yeah.
and
It
you
drinks
would
like-
take some time
It's
with
a
it.
sipper.
Yeah.
It's a sipper.
This is, I mean, the event that they had was like literally an event, like a cigar, just a couple, like 20 people just sitting there like, yep,
You ABW regulars.
yep, this is happening.
Okay.
Slow evening.
There were
Those cigars were good too, though.
they were so
had
good.
Did they
Those out
supply
there.
cigars?
They had Utopia cigars.
Oh wow.
Like,
Yeah.
We were there early.
all three of us got them, right?
Yep.
And then we went over to 42 North afterwards, and we had them out on the patio.
Oh shit, yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds like a great night.
Yes, it was.
Dude, yeah.
Well,
Those are
I am
very good.
out of beer now, and I don't even know if we talked about it.
We did not talk about this.
No, we didn't. I mentioned it, but we didn't really talk about it.
All the bucket lists.
Let's,
Talk and WrestleMania and pizza.
Let's discuss the beer a bit on our beer podcast.
Oh, no, I'm out.
This is Mettle. It's a double IPA, and it was brewed as an anniversary beer for a Trillium. I think it's their 1-year anniversary, so in 2014. And then they keep making it every year, just kind of as a tribute to that anniversary.
Definitely, yeah. Double dry hop, Citra, Merlot, and some Columbus too. And
They really like
Delicious.
Columbus as a bittering hop.
Yeah, that's what I've noticed. I feel like every one of their beers, especially like their pales and their IPAs, has Columbus in it.
Yeah.
I don't know about the 4 points, but
4 Point does have Columbus.
does it?
Yeah. It's
It's an
really
interesting
good,
move to stick with one hop for a certain roll, and then like rotate other hops around it
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
create that profile, or profiles, I guess, for each one.
I mean, once again, splooshable. It's
Sploogeable.
It's delicious.
I think we'll all be splooging
This one's
tomorrow.
pretty.
After the Last Jedi trailer comes out too.
Yes.
Is that tomorrow?
Yeah, Star Wars Celebration. It's the Last Jedi panel.
I don't like you say
that's
that.
At 11
fantastic.
a.m. and the rumor is that they're going to release the trailer. Please just do it already. I need to watch it.
Oh,
I need
that's-
something.
That's great.
Right?
So listeners, by the time this comes out, this trailer will be out. If you haven't seen it yet, just go watch it.
Please.
If you don't like Star Wars, I don't know if I can help you.
Yeah.
I'll avoid all the streets because I'll just look out and I'll see this dark shadow coming down. I'll be like, it's the sploosh. Run!
The sploosh.
We are about to die. Salute you.
All right, so speaking of the sploosh and the specifically the splooshableness of these beers, now that we've had these 3 beers that we're going to try, what are the favorites or comments as far as rankings?
I probably would rank the Scaled Up as number 1.
I agree.
Then Stillings.
I go Stillings.
Stillings
My
felt
favorite.
the juiciest to me, to be honest.
I like Scaled Up, Mettle, and then Stillings.
Really?
Yeah.
I go Stillings as my favorite.
I think it's really just splitting hairs because they're all just phenomenal beers. That it's really difficult to really say, was this one better than that one? I think they were just all phenomenal.
I want a decisive decision.
That's
I
well.
already gave it.
As far as decisiveness, we've discussed on the podcast how Dan does have an affinity for the kind of West Coast bitter beers, and so the first beer that Dan said he liked, that did have a bit more bitterness to it, I think. Whereas and then the second one had the bit more the juiciness, or at least maybe they both had the bitterness and the juiciness, but the bitterness wasn't as strong in the second one, allowing the juicy flavor to come through.
Right.
I think we can just all agree. We all want more.
Yes. Lots more Trillium.
Yes.
And Trillium, if you're listening to us right now, send it our way.
We'll take free samples.
No, it's just the distribution laws in Massachusetts. That's why they distribute.
Is that what it is?
They have strict. I mean, maybe it's something that's holding them back, but they have strict distribution laws there.
Come on, Massachusetts. You're one of the first. You're one of the first colonies. One of the first states. You value freedom. Let your people distribute. Don't regulate that.
Let my
Except
beer
Night Shift.
go.
Let my beer.
Night Shift is another brewery
Happy Passover.
in Massachusetts, and they were just around here.
Yeah, I believe, didn't ABW get some Night Shift?
Mm-hmm.
It's got the owl on there.
So I don't know if that's changed, but I always remember there was like some distribution law that prevented that from.
See, I always thought it was just the
These
scale
cans.
that they're on.
Yeah.
That, they sell out just by opening their doors and saying we have these for sale. That they sell out in Boston, so they don't have enough to distribute
Right.
elsewhere anyways.
But they're also giving that limit, like a case per person of a single beer. So I could say I want a case of Mettle, a Stillings, and you can go in there and say the same thing too.
Right, and they
So-
still sell out.
Yeah, but I mean they're letting you take a lot of beer back with you, so or out with you. So I
Gotcha.
feel like they can distribute a decent amount if they wanted to. But I don't know. I kind of like it's fun getting Trillium like once. Like we have a pretty constant pipeline of it. Like because my buddy's sister lives out there and his aunt. So whenever they come back for holidays,
They bring it.
they'll bring some back. And then I have buddies who I'm like, you gotta go for me. You have to.
Well, the next time you go, or you get asked, you're gonna have orders now.
I know. That's the worst part.
He already takes my order.
The list gets longer and longer.
There's a reason why Alex doesn't tell us as often. He's like, yeah, I've got like a couple cans. In reality, what it was he had like 3 cans of each. He's like, I'm just not gonna tell everybody that I have this.
This is precious.
Alex is in the corner.
Precious. Trillium is the precious.
See, and for beer like this, I've had friends go out and they're just, I'm like, how much is a can? They're like, well, it retails for $3.99, so $4. And I'm like, well, I mean, there's can deposit depending on the state, then there's tax depending on the state. So I'm willing to pay more. I'm willing to give you a bit of a premium for bringing this back to me. But
Like,
a lot of craft beer people are just nice, so they're like, oh, $4 because that's what it costs, even though they're paying a little bit more for it. So yeah, I mean, if somebody's willing to bring it back for me, I'll do a bit of an upcharge to.
You went across state lines to bring me back something delicious. And it's like, I'll throw $1 or $2 your way.
Yeah.
These 4-packs are
Cover your gas.
$20.20 a piece.
Yeah. And it's not taxed because obviously you're buying it.
Yeah.
Right from them. Some of them are, like the 4 points are $15, $50. Some of them are a little bit less expensive. But I mean, you're getting quality beer.
Yeah.
I don't mind at all. Some people are, people who aren't really craft beer drinkers or heavy beer drinkers. So why would you pay that amount of money for beer? It's like, well, wouldn't you pay a higher dollar for quality?
Yeah, and I mean, everybody has some kind of hobby, and within
Exactly.
that hobby, there's quality that they pay more for.
Yep.
I mean, food and alcohol. Like anybody into wine, different liquors, they'll pay more for those. Food, they'll pay more for a nice meal prepared by somebody that they know does good work. And I think it's getting better now. At first, like a decade ago, 2 decades ago, with beer, it was more. There's not that big of a range as far as the difference in the quality. So why would you pay more for it? Now, though, especially as much as craft beer has taken off over the last decade, the people that don't really understand it are just the people that aren't really that into popular culture, I guess, at this point. They just don't pay attention to trends because craft beer is huge now.
Yeah.
Very big. A lot bigger than it was 3 years ago, 4 years ago, I guess.
It's like every year it's getting bigger and bigger.
Every year.
And there's just more breweries opening up, so it's just changing everyone's palate year by year. Because more people are just drinking it because they're getting used to it and trying all different kinds of styles now.
Yeah, and we still haven't reached the point of saturation where breweries start to fail because there's not enough market space. Even breweries that open up, even if their beer is not that good, they can usually stay in business because people will buy it, people will go there.
Right. I mean, I remember how shocked I was when this was years ago, when I saw grapefruit sculpin at Aurora Brewers. I was like, oh, I haven't seen grapefruit sculpin anywhere. And then now it's a gas station across the street from me.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Avery, when it came out, was popular. It's like, oh yeah, we finally got Avery, and it's like people glommed onto it. And then I can go near the shelf and I see like the barrel aged series, and I'm like, yeah, this should not be on the shelf. And I see, the oak aged beer, and I'm like, this should not be on the shelf either. And I'm like, we have Phantom, which was extremely popular. Like, it was one of those rare beers, and I go to the shelf, and I'm like, we still have that. And we never leaves, and I don't know why.
When
I went to Avery. Avery Brewing Company is really cool spot. They have
even some Maines, like Maine Beer Company, things like that, like stay on the shelf longer. But if it's not an IPA, you're like, well, it's like it's still from Maine Beer Company and delicious.
right, but now people are sensitive. At least craft beer drinkers are sensitive to the bottle dates.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why when they see the bottle dates really old, when I see single cut sometimes on shelves and it's old, I'm like, I'll hold on that because I know this will be fresh. And
I've seen Boom
road.
Sauce at some places, and it's like 4 months old, and I'm like, why would I buy that?
Lord Hobo doesn't stay too long at ABW. That's the one nice thing.
It sits a little bit at Village Beer Merchant.
Yeah, Village Beer Merchant, both locations. I've seen it at Wegmans sit a while.
It's at Wegmans.
Everywhere I've seen it, I guess except ABW. And I don't know if they just overproduced it and hasn't gone as much, but But yeah, I've seen some old beers from Lord Hobo. Not just Boom Sauce.
When Constellation
but I mean
Prize
beers.
came out, it was game over. It was just like, yep, doesn't mind.
Yeah, because I mean, I remember having Steal This Can. I think I had Steal This Can before I had any Trillium or any. I was like, oh, this is pretty solid.
Yeah,
Boom
Steal This
Sauce
Can
was
is
good
good.
too, and their session was pretty solid as well. But I haven't had it since.
Yeah, I mean, if I find it and it's fresh, I'll get some. But
Yeah, it's fresh, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Same with single cut, but that single cut's canning too, which is cool. So like
Yep.
softly spoken.
That goes fast. Cans are
Magic
going extremely
spells.
fast.
that is such a good beer.
Yeah,
Softly spoken.
one of my favorites too. Now they started double dry hopping that as well.
Yeah, just had that in more pet.
Yeah, exactly. I had an APV yesterday. They tapped it. And,
Nice.
yeah, so now a lot more new IPAs from single cut. So maybe do a single cut episode sometime.
Should do a single cut episode.
Yeah,
Love
it's a fantastic idea.
Yeah, more
love single
IPAs.
cut.
Yeah, yeah, they're a specialty.
Yeah.
My boss was actually at their brewery for, I think it was their 3rd year anniversary. It was like a year or two ago. They're kind of new as well in New York City, and he was there I think almost on accident. He was going to New York City for something else. Then they were going to some places, and he's a big craft beer fan. So him and his friends ended up going there, and they apparently just like blew it out. Like they had like burlesque dancers there, and it was a huge party. They opened up the whole brewery area, and they'll just let people walk around and drink, and
That's awesome.
just a group of people that like really wanted to have fun. So
That's cool.
and that's shows in a lot of their beers too, as far as what they're into.
For sure. They're somewhere in Brooklyn, right? Or
Yeah.
is it Brooklyn?
Well,
Single cut?
Yeah.
I know the New York City area. I don't know
Yeah.
specifically what borough.
I was there recently, and we were gonna go there, but in New York, you like think, oh, this place is like probably close. We're in New York. We'll be able to go there during the day, and then you're like, oh, that's like a 45-minute trip, like there and back. I don't know if we're gonna have time to do that.
And like public transport. I think it's like $3 to get on the subway. It's like a 40-minute subway ride
All right.
within New York City. It's like no, I don't have that time. I think it's time to move on to last segment. What I've
I
been
think somebody
drinking.
get the fuck out of here.
Well, you get the fuck out of here then.
Yeah, leave Dan. Boo!
Peace out, bitch. Oh!
Out of this bitch.
That was the mic drop. So I'll start it off. I had a couple of what I've been drinking recently. One relates to an episode we recorded recently where we brought up Sea Quench, just part of we were talking about an article of beers to go with seafood. Both of you guys have had this, and I've never had Sea Quench before. I was at Ballyhoo, fantastic establishment in Buffalo, and they had Sea Quench on tap. And I was like, I got to drink this beer just for honor. And I had it, and I'm like, oh shit, that's a good beer too. I'm glad I got
Phenomenal
this.
beer.
It was fantastic. And we've talked about it before, but the blend of the 3 styles, Berliner Weiss, Goza, and then I think just Kolsch. Yeah, basic Kolsch was the 3rd one. But yeah, it was fantastic. So I had Sea Quench, not with seafood, unfortunately. Ballyhoo specializes in sausages, and they don't yet have like a lobster sausage. So
Ooh.
till they do, not gonna mix that.
Wow.
Seafood
sausage.
But second thing I wanted to bring up was so at 42 North, which we've done an episode before here and talked about in East Aurora. I went there on Sunday, which is a fantastic day here in Buffalo, really warm out. Mm-hmm. Went there on Sunday, brought a book, went through a couple White Oak Borderlands, and just read outside for a little while, and it was super peaceful. So if you're in Western New York and you get a chance, go to 42 and try their White Oak Borderland.
Yeah, fuck you. Stay the fuck away from that. I want it. It's mine.
I was actually just about to say,
Like,
before it's all gone.
But yes, because
it
I will
go
be
quick.
drinking it because I've pissed Aaron off enough with the crawlers. Because when it first came out, they're like, yeah, it's only 1 crawler per person. So I was there every single day. I'm like, and he's like, you and the damn crawlers. And I'm like, that's right, there's 3 in my fridge.
So if you go there and they're sold out, you know who to blame now.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, it's all Dan's fault.
I
It's
regret
all Dan's
nothing.
fault.
I regret nothing.
That actually took first place in a national specialty IPA
Yes, it did.
judging.
So happy
National,
to see
damn.
that. Yeah,
Good for
so
them.
happy to see it back.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go with another one. I'm gonna stay local, and I'm gonna add one more beer to it. And I was actually because I don't kind of a little hated them in the past, and had one of the cans recently, and it was like, damn, came out swinging. I was and I don't know if it was recipe changed or if maybe I've just been missing something because I have not been back in quite some time. But the Resurgence Sitmo IPA in cans, that was
like
just
it?
I really liked it. I was like, damn, like it was just a hazy. I'm like, okay, when did this start happening? And I was like, all right, guys. I'm like,
Yeah, I've heard they stepped
I gotta
up their
come
game.
back through the doors for a little bit here.
Interesting. I haven't had the newest batch in the
And
cans.
that's why.
Very good.
Their cans are cool looking too.
They
I
are.
like them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true.
Nice design.
They do a good
Better
job
than
with those.
for their IPA. Wasn't a huge fan.
Well, I had it early on when I remember, but I mean, we're talking like they first opened, and I was, like, okay, this is nice and a little gimmicky, and they had obviously the two biggest ones at the time were the Loganberry I kept hearing about and the Sponge Candy, and they did have the Resurgence IPA at the time, and I was like, all right, and then actually someone gave me a smaller growler of it, and I was like, I drank it again, I was like, all right, this is getting better, and the thing I've always said though with Resurgence, I always saw, I was like, they're trying to improve, they're always improving.
Right.
But what I always found disconcerting is that they never had just a foundation. I felt like it was just, we're doing this as we go. I'm like, hey, I just opened a can of one of your beers, and I'm like, what?
The best thing is they're doing it better and better every single time.
Yes.
Yeah, because I'm really looking forward to trying Sitmo because I mean,
It was really good.
Mosaic combination is out of this world. I mean, that was that Mettle or was that Scaled Up? I think it was Scaled Up. Citra
Yeah.
Mosaic.
Yeah, I think Scout Up had it.
Or no,
Yeah.
that was Galaxy Mosaic. Citra was in Mettle.
Yeah, you're right.
But yeah, I mean, it's a phenomenal combination of hops, and it's a session IPA, isn't it?
I don't think
Doesn't
it is.
taste like a session.
No.
No.
No. Yeah, they just had their IPA face off, and this past Saturday, and they brewed like 8 different IPAs
Nice.
for people to go and try and vote on. So probably whichever ones get obviously the most votes.
They have it as American IPA. That's what they've labeled it as.
Really?
I just checked 6.5%.
Oh yeah, it's not sessionable.
No.
Well, depending on where you are.
That's true. I live in that area of Buffalo, so
Is it sessionable?
sessionable for me.
Recently, last night actually, I was at 42 North, and they had a whole bunch of funky beers on tap. I only had a chance to try 2 of them. One I've had before. It's the Nomad from 42 North, and you didn't like it?
No, that was my orgasm face.
Sploosh face.
His girlfriends are really confused.
Yes.
You can never really tell when he's pleased. No, but the Nomad is
I think
phenomenal.
he's having a stroke.
I think we had it one time when we went there. I think it
He
was
gave
me
us a
and
bottle
Tom.
in a lovely
Yeah.
basket.
Yeah. I love those baskets.
It's a clever way of just...
Yeah, and every time you pour it and then you put it back down, you're not disturbing the yeast at the bottom of the bottle
Brilliant.
as much. So it's a great idea. But the Nomad is an excellent beer.
Yeah.
And then I also had I don't remember what it was called, but it was from Thin Man. That was recently released, and that was pretty good. It was really acidic, though, and it started getting to me for a little bit, and then had to have a white oak.
Fuck you, Alex.
Cleanse the palate.
Of course. After 2 funky beers, get a white oak.
Yeah. Never a bad time for a white oak.
Never a bad time. Connor, what have you been drinking?
So, like I was saying recently, I had someone who did a beer trip, brought back some more New England Northeast beers. So I actually got to have Treehouse's Haze, which is super juicy, double IPA. Probably one of the fluffiest beers I've ever had. Literally feels like
Fluffiest.
Literally,
Fluffy is
Fantastic
a really good word
descriptive
for it.
word.
literally
I've
feels
had
like
that
you're drinking
before.
a cloud. Great mouthfeel. that has honestly become one of my favorite beers. And I also had some Alchemist, had Heady, Focal, Crusher, and I think the Crusher was probably the dominant one out of all three of those.
So you're just tearing up that New England beer scene.
For now, and then go through a dry spot and just not drink any of those beers at all. And then until next time.
We call those the dark times.
The dark times. Yeah. But no, it's been, drink some more Trillium too.
Sweet.
But yeah, that's about it. It's been great.
Kyle, any morning beers?
Martinis. I'm not kidding.
Bold move.
Martinis in the morning. I like it.
Hell yeah.
All right, well, I think that wraps everything up here. Thanks so much for joining us, and thank you especially to Connor to bringing us the Trillium beer for this episode, and then joining us for the episode to talk about it.
Anytime. It's been a blast.
As always, go ahead.
Those are stuffed with jalapenos.
Yeah, that's. Thank you for Mike for joining us and talking this time. That was impressive. As always, go ahead and visit us on Facebook, Your Brain on Hops, both Twitter and Instagram, or at Brain on Hops. And then however you're listening to us, iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, some random Android podcast app that just keep popping up. Go ahead and rate us, leave us a comment, let us know if there's any breweries you want us to check out. If you want to send us beer, just go ahead and do that too. We're always up to trying new beers. So thank you so much for joining us, everyone. Cheers.
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 Later.